All right, we are recording, and it is, well, I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. It's either chapter 14, or it is chapter 1 of The Empire Strikes Back, chapter 14 of the book, or one of the second story in here, because it is the trilogy. Um, it starts largely like the beginning of the movie, for those of you familiar with it, which I assume is everyone. Um, but it unfortunately starts like the movie does, and I'll get to that. I do want to quickly explain, though, there are some differences, mainly with the you get some inner monologue stuff that gives more exposition, setting things up. That's what I'm going to get to. That's like I wish it wasn't so much like the movie, where things are not explained. But the conversation between Han and Leia after he's basically said that, yeah, I gotta go, pay off Jabba. So in that, it's uh, in the movie you have, I just as soon kiss a Wookiee. I can arrange that, Han says as he's walking out, and even says, here, it's, believe me, you could use a good kiss. He's saying that to Leia, insulting her. But I think in the movie, at least it always sounds like, or at least it makes more sense to me, he could use a good kiss. Saying that, Chewie would appreciate that, essentially. Um, but it continues from that. So believe me, you could use a good kiss. And also, this isn't that he's walking away. He hasn't walked away at all yet. So there's much more animation in the movie, which makes sense. It's you can see it all. You've been so busy giving orders, you've forgotten how to be a woman. If you'd have let go for a moment, I could have helped you, but it's too late now, sweetheart. Your big opportunity is flying out of here. I think I can survive, she said, obviously irked. Good luck. You don't care if he knew what she was going to say and didn't let her finish. Spare me, please, he interrupted. Don't tell me about the rebellion again. It's all you think about. You're as cold as this place. He's basically arguing here that she does want him to stay, but is constantly, whenever the conversations come up, been saying, oh, well, it's for the rebellion, for the rebellion, for the rebellion. He basically, look, if you just said it to yourself that you wanted me to stay, maybe I would. But let's now get to that kind of transitions nicely, accidentally, but nicely, to the biggest thing that so annoys me about the whole. It's a bit too much like the movie in that it's been 3 years since the end of A New Hope. Death Star is destroyed. It's wonderful and all that. What the hell have they been doing? No clue. Still nothing. In fact, it even seems like how they're describing this here, that Hoth is the first rebel base since Yavin. Took them 3 years? What have they been doing? I mean, I can understand taking a while to decide where to go, but at the same time, it's like, there's a lot of planets. You could at least set up a temporary base somewhere. But no, it's like, just ignore that there's been 3 years that have passed. I mean, it really is these are not the 3 years you need to be thinking about. I mean, it is a major problem to me. I mean, I can understand skipping some stuff. All right, like we don't really know how much time is spent in A New Hope, how much time was spent in hyperspace going between Tatooine and Alderaan. Okay, we don't really know that. That's fine. You can skip over that. But this is 3 years. A lot should have happened in those 3 years. The Death Star being destroyed, for one thing, that news getting out there would embarrass the Empire, embolden, well, maybe not embolden the rebellion itself, as far as like Leia, Luke, Han is not technically a member. I'm going to come back to that. And it is clearly stated he's not technically a member, he just sticks around. Oh, and by the way, I meant to be holding this up, but isn't really a good shirt to try to stab that into. But anyway, so it's, and I kind of lost my train of thought because of that. That is annoying. It is gone. I know I was talking about Leia. That's right. Leia and Luke and Dodonna, although he's not named here, but the higher-ups in the rebellion, they would hopefully be smart enough to know not to be emboldened by this. But it's also referenced how there are senators. Well, in the first book. Well, first story, rather. There are senators who support the rebellion. They would be emboldened. Because in theory, they would be the ambassadors. They're the ones that would be like, hey, this other world, the Empire, maybe we don't need to fear them so much. Maybe you can start standing up for yourself. let me tell you about the rebellion. I was like, that sort of thing should have been happening. It should have been a huge shift in the larger story of the galaxy and the larger power dynamic of the galaxy. Because if this was, the rebellion was weaker, well, here, let's say the Alliance. Okay, let's use the Alliance for the actual planets and such, whereas the rebellion is the actual, like, military portion that fought the Death Star. Okay? But, like, Alderaan would have been part of the Alliance. The Alliance should have grown after that, and should have been a very serious problem to the Empire. Like, they would have had to react strongly, which also you would have had the whole, the tighter your grip, the more systems slip through your fingers thing happening. So there should have been a lot going on there. The idea that for 3 years they were apparently just wandering is nonsense. I mean, it is. And also, Hoth makes no sense, and because he even talks about how here. Let me actually trying to find, because how it yeah. So this is Luke, like, musing to himself. The galaxy is peppered with settlements of colonizers who care little about the affairs of the Empire or its opposition, the Rebel Alliance. And this is like he's musing on what an Imperial official would be thinking. But a settler would have to be crazy to stake his claims on Hoth. This planet doesn't have a thing to offer anyone except us, the Rebellion. Except it's a terrible place when you think about it. I mean, it's like, the nature of the Rebellion demands that it have technology. It needs to have ships. It needs to have a generator, at least on Hoth. It needs to have all this equipment that is military, right? I mean, we are talking about military equipment here. Hoth has no reason for any of that to exist there. It also has no reason for any life to exist there, at least any human life. So, the moment you find something there, you need to investigate, okay? I mean, this is not a good thing. Because, I mean, in theory, every member of the rebellion can blend in on other planets, right? They can. You just need to be there, and hopefully, no one knows that you're part of the rebellion is going to turn you in. It's like, there is that issue. But there would still be ways to mitigate that. Whereas here, it's you have it is like you have a sign up. It might not be lit, but the sign is up. Because if anybody looks and sees anything about you, you're exposed. You're done. And I know in the movie, that'll probably be chapter 3, maybe? Well, no, it should be chapter 2, because the probe droid has landed, and it shouldn't be too long after that, it got a signal out, and it's like, yes, it picked up the generator there. Oh, it was probably just pirates or something. It's like, and Vader goes, no, that's where they are. That's rebellion. And it's like, yeah, but it's also, think about it. They think it was pirates. Why would the Empire not go after? I mean, it might be because that Superstar Destroyer is called the Executors, I recall. It might be like, okay, we are hunting the rebels. We're not interested in pirates, so we're going to move on. But hey, that Star Destroyer over there, we picked up, just by accident, there's, some pirates there. Why don't you go and deal with that? Right? You're doing the police stuff, we're doing other things. Why don't you go and do that? I mean, it's a terrible idea. I get it's what the story is. I get that. But it is just one of those, I couldn't write this because I would be too much like, this is too contrived. There's too many problems here. And then coming back to Han's situation, it's 3 years. He did not initially have a price on his head. He failed to pay Jabba. Now he has a price on his head. 3 years? He couldn't be like, so, can I have a week off? All right. What you gotta do? I gotta pay off a hut. Go. I'm sorry, but the line is even in here and is also in the movie. Should actually be right here. Yeah, a death mark is not an easy thing to live with. He's had it on his head for how long? And now you're saying, I'm sorry, if I'm a rebel general, I'm even gonna be like, Han, either you go and pay it off, or I'm gonna get that dude over there. See him there? He's at the water cooler. Okay, I'm just gonna grab him. He can go. I'm gonna give him the money. He will go. and deal with Jabba. He will take care of that. Because there's no reason why Jabba shouldn't accept that, right? I don't see why not, because that way Han is insulated, he's protected, and Jabba gets his money. Maybe even increase it. All right? I mean, I don't remember if it was ever stated how much Han owed him, but Han was going for 17,000, and that was going to be enough. So and it was like Han seemed excited, like there would be more left over. So let's just say the rebellion's like, you know what, Jabba, for the inconvenience of it not being Han, because he's sticking around with us, he's 20,000. You think Jabba isn't going to take it? But it's like, until you do, it's like, okay, so we've got issues with the Empire. That's bad. And now we got issues with the Hutts. Han, we're paying this off. I mean, I get how it breaks so much of what's going to happen. I get that. But it still is one of those, this is dumb. No one should be this dumb. I mean, there's one story that I've seen recommended. So I got the first 2 books in this series. Second book, at least the electronic version that I got through Barnes & Noble, the ebook version, and has like the first chapter of the 3rd book. And I read it, and it's like, I'm not going to read further. I mean, there were some things I was liking, but it's like, no. Because it has one person that this is clearly an idiot, and he's supposed to be intimidating. Idiots aren't that intimidating. I mean, and not unless they're very powerful, but this guy is not. He's effectively a king. But he, on his own, is not intimidating. It's the powers that he commands, but he's an idiot. Why should I be intimidated by what he's commanding? I mean, it's, I talked about this in one of the previous videos, the whole lieutenant concept. What makes the Emperor in this intimidating? Vader. Because Vader is his lieutenant. Now, true, in the context I was talking about it before, Vader's set up in Star Wars, the original name for the original story in this. Vader's set up as being way more powerful, and even considering deposing, having a coup against the Emperor, okay? But it still is. It's like, that changes. I'm sure we're going to be seeing that in here. Well, in Empire Strikes Back, and then it clearly also in Return of the Jedi. So Vader is very intimidating, right? He is powerful, he is commanding, and if he wants you dead, most of the time that means you die. That's just how Vader is. But he answers to the Emperor. That makes the Emperor far more intimidating. Okay? And it's also, Vader is intelligent. Right? He can make bad decisions. He does seem to be, I'm just trying to think of the best word for it besides ill-tempered, but impatient as well, based on his conversation with Obi-Wan before killing him, that he doesn't understand Obi-Wan's philosophies, and so he's dismissive of them and doesn't try to realize that, wait, no, there is something here and I need to understand that. And then ultimately reject it still, because Obi-Wan's philosophies, I don't think you could really be evil and follow them and understand them even. But anyhow. So he's very intelligent, and it's like, these guys are idiots. The Rebel Alliance are idiots. I mean, it even could have been after Yavin, you got your reward. Didn't you need that to pay off Jabba the Hutt? Yeah? Go do that. Or we'll set, hey, that dude over there, he's going to be going right by Tatooine on his way home. We'll give him the money. Is that okay? We have him drop it off with Jabba. We can trust him. I mean, it's, because don't forget, it did say at the end of previous book, as part of the describing of the medal ceremony, that everyone was going to be leaving, some to their homes, some to new assignments. Which is also an issue here, because they've kind of retconned it, that they have apparently decided to stick together, for at least some of them have, for going to Hoth. So yeah, it's 3 years unexplained with plot holes that kind of leave you thinking they're stupid. And as that's also weakness in the movie, but at least in the movie, it's like you're not getting the exposition, you're not getting the inner monologue type stuff. So this they could have explained. They could have talked about that after the Death Star was destroyed, a fleet of Star Destroyers shortly appeared to try to finish them off, and so like they had to race out of Yavin and were being chased, and a lot of their it's like you could do that and just say that that chase has been going on for 3 years because actually no, even that's not completely reasonable, but at least that they have been continuously followed and they finally managed to lose them and have decided on Hoth to be where they're going to stay for a while. You could do that, but it's not. None of that's in the movie, but it's also you can't really do that so well. But in this, you could, just as the whole, what I read for what Luke was musing on. So anyway, we'll see what goes with that. And by the way, just one thing to add. For part of the reason why this 3 years bothers me is I got one story, Failure, where I had the vision in my mind of the big climax to that. It takes place on a Saturday. And then I knew what was going to happen next, on Monday. And I'm writing. And the story said to me, because stories speak to me, well, at least my stories do, it spoke to me saying, what happened on Sunday? Damn it, now I gotta answer that. I was like, that's what happened. I ended up getting like 2 or 3 chapters out of just answering what happened on Sunday. I had no plan for it. Didn't think about it before. I was like, what happened on Sunday? Well, I gotta answer now. Gotta give an answer, so I did. There should be an answer for the 3 years, but it isn't here. And that bothers me. And it is not just I got questions, but it is a personal thing. I have had it happen to me where I feel myself being asked that question by a story. What happened? And I gotta answer it. So now I get that is different styles might not have been for. I just want to check. In theory, it's the Donald F. Glut? Not sure. I just want to actually. I think it says. Yes. By Donald F. Glut. He's the one who. Oh, come on. There we go. He's the one who wrote it. Based on the story by George Lucas. And I do feel like adding quickly. Empire Strikes Back, the book, when I looked at that, it was a few days ago, did release closer to the release of the movie, so it's more likely that some things were being written, that some of this was being written or at least edited at the same time as the movie was being done. But yeah, I still do expect there will be other differences than just the conversation in there that I already read part of. All right. Wow, this is actually a short one so far. No idea if it'll stay that way. We'll find out. Anyway, see you next time.